Welcome to the Walking Dead UK podcast. It's Entertainment Talks podcast for Fear the Walking Dead on AMC. I'm your host Matthew and this is for Season 6, Episode 7, the mid-season finale, Damage from the Inside. Pretty much caused by Victor. In all context, if I take this as a separate episode, which I guess I'm supposed to, it was alright. This was a fine episode. In terms of the actual contents of the episode, the stupidness of the structure aside, and my complaints throughout the season about that, which I've probably got quite tiring to listen to, I thought this episode was fine to good. One of the reasons I enjoyed this episode is because after 3 episodes of not seeing Alicia, who to me is still the main character, as big a character as Morgan is, this is still, Alicia's an original character from this series. I know that Morgan is an original character from the pilot of The Walking Dead, which some people actually forget that he was. We get to see her, catch up with her. I thought that was good. The Victor stuff in this episode I thought was fine. Morgan coming in and joining up with Alicia I thought was cool. The best part of this episode, or one of the best parts of this episode, was the stylized, decorated zombies, walkers rather. I thought that was quite good. They actually could have used that for something in the future, and I'm guessing by the fact that this guy says, all of my creations are here, it's a bit of a shame that you don't keep that around, because as cool as we've seen different types of zombies, different shapes, heights and sizes in the past, this was something different that I don't really think that The Walking Dead has tried before. I know that you had like Jadis, who made like Wilson 1 and Wilson 2.0 or whatever in The Walking Dead, but this is like something quite different to that, I think. Like different horns and that sort of thing. So that was, as a person who appreciates these shows more for their zombie work than the average viewer, which I believe most viewers follow these shows because of the characters, which is one of the more appealing parts of the show, certainly. By shows I mean all 3 of the shows. But yeah, as a person who appreciates zombie things, whether it's set pieces or designs or whatever, a bit more, I thought that was pretty good. Interesting line from this episode that I want to point out. Morgan saying it will be better when we're all together. Well, isn't that a bit on the nose, Morgan? Obviously, Lenny didn't write that line. Lenny James, who plays Morgan, didn't write that line, but I sort of chuckled a little bit at that, because I was like, yeah, it really would be. This story could be so much better if you were if more of you were together. You don't all need to be together. I mean, that would be even better. But just treating this show 6 seasons in like it's not an ensemble show, like it's a single character focused thing or whatever, was a dreadful idea. And I've opened this podcast up with some positives. I wanted to sort of change things a little bit, because I did like this episode more than a lot of the others, and I've already spoken about why. Catching up with Alicia, the zombie designs, that stuff was really cool. Seeing Morgan team up with Alicia was cool. I think that the showrunner here has completely and utterly butchered this story. Now that we've actually gotten to now that I can kind of talk about this season as a half, completed half season, I think this is the worst half season of any of the shows. I would much rather watch season 7 and 8 of The Walking Dead, which are noted to be 2 of some of the worst seasons of The Walking Dead. I know that season 2 for The Walking Dead gets some criticism for its slow pace. Season 3 is a little bit mixed and muddled and whatever. But season 7 and 8 were completely butchered as well in the main show, and I think that this is worse. I do. I just think that there was potential for, like, the actual ideas of this story, the format aside, the ideas of this story, like Virginia and this group and everything that's going on, there's some good parts to it. But it's like the Negan season 7 and 8. There's some good parts to it because that's one of the best parts of the whole comic storyline. But when you, just because you're trying to adapt to a great story or try to do a great story, if you butcher it through, because season 7 and 8 were butchered from The Walking Dead for a lot of different reasons. One of them was pacing. You have a 32 episode arc, which could have been significantly cut down. With this first half of season 6, it's the case that, okay, you actually have a fairly good story. You have some interesting characters. I do find Virginia kind of interesting as a villain. Not like one of the best villains ever of the shows, but certainly a pretty good villain. But just the fact that you got 6 seasons into this and you decided to change the format has completely butchered the shit out of this story. It just has, and I'll say it again. You know, if you're someone who's really enjoyed the season and you've really enjoyed the episodes, cool, that's great. I'm not going to knock you for your opinion. You should never apologize for your opinion or change it just because of what someone else has said or something. But yeah, I just think that you had a good chance to tell a really good story here, and I don't know, you messed it up basically. It got me kind of thinking a little bit about other shows as well. Imagining Game of Thrones. I'll just take Game of Thrones as an example. Imagine in like some of the later seasons of Game of Thrones where say like Daenerys or Dany or Khaleesi, whatever, played by Emilia Clarke. Imagine you take that character and you don't show her for like 3 episodes or 2 episodes, or you don't show her for 2 episodes, then you have her in 1 episode, then you miss another 2 episodes, then you have her in an episode. It would be terrible, wouldn't it? It would. It just, or like same with Jon Snow or another big Game of Thrones character. It's like what I said the other week with The Walking Dead. If you took like 2 or 3 episodes, had no Rick Grimes in there, had him for an episode, then missed 2 or 3 episodes, and had him again, and then missed 2. You know, it just doesn't work. This is, you know, it's an ensemble show. It just shouldn't, because I never ever thought that any of these Walking Dead shows would ever try to do this, because they're supposed to be ensemble shows, and just as a result, you've completely butchered the crap out of this story. It's just how I feel, and I mean, it gives me a little bit of hope, the fact that Morgan is saying in this episode about like, let's try to get everybody together, and I'm like, yes, thank God, finally someone is actually talking about doing that. I do find it a little bit strange how no character has actually mentioned that, of like, okay, we're all in different groups, like completely different groups all over the place, and like they haven't really tried to get back together, like get everybody sort of together. So yeah, I appreciated that at least Morgan has kind of noticed that or whatever. So that's good. I think you're gonna go the whole 16 episodes. And they'll probably meet up at the end of the season. I hope for God's sake that they don't do this next season again, because I think you'll not only just ruin the season, you'll end up ruining the show, I think. So yeah, anyway, let's take a quick little break. We'll come back and then I'll kind of wrap up for this mid-season. We'll see you in a second. See you in a minute rather, or whatever. Hi there, and thanks very much for listening. Today I'm here to tell you about our 2 different affiliate links. The first of which is our Amazon affiliate link. That's where you can shop on Amazon. We can get a small cut of what you spend, but it won't cost you anything extra. So whether you're getting a gift for somebody else or treating yourself, or maybe both depending on the occasion, we can get a small cut of what you spend, but it won't cost you extra. You can find the link to our Amazon affiliate link in your show notes. The second affiliate link for today is our Kualu affiliate link. If you want to get started with a website and a domain name of your choice, you can simply sign up with Kualu using the link in the show notes. They also have a live chat support system that's in the bottom right hand corner as well. So if you need help with getting set up, Kualu will be able to help you with that as well. The links for both of these can be found in your show notes for Kualu and the Amazon affiliate link. If you would like to get the ad-free versions of Entertainment Talks podcast and support us along the way, you can simply sign up over on our Patreon page. You can sign up either as a creator or as a patron. There's no difference there for the time being, and you can get your ad-free podcasts over there. It's a great way to support us on Entertainment Talk and to get rid of the ads and get your ad-free podcasts You can also support Entertainment Talk on Patreon at the $3 level tier. This gets you a chance to request a review from us of your favourite TV show or film, but it's one per month, so one TV show or film review per month. It's up to you which one you want to choose. We will watch a few episodes of the TV show that you choose, or of course if it's a film, we'll just watch that film and we will review that for you on that month. And then when it gets to the next month, you can request a new TV show or a film review of your choice. That's $3 level tier. That does also of course include your ad-free podcasts for the month as well. Thank you very much for listening and enjoy the rest of the show. Alright, recently on Entertainment Talk, what have we got for you here? Another Let's Play Sundays episode. This is the 60-second one, and it is the co-op video for Fall Guys, where me and Robert teamed up, sort of, and played some Fall Guys, and you can watch that episode if you want to. The United cast, Premier League football is back, thank goodness, but Manchester United have beaten West Brom by 1-0, but don't feel too positive about it. It was not a very good performance at all, very uninspiring. We do play against Istanbul tomorrow in the fourth group match day group thing out of 6 games in the Champions League, so look out for that tomorrow as well. Man United play Istanbul tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, and it is the 4th out of the 6 group stage games, and we've got to keep on winning in that. Did a podcast for the upcoming Last of Us TV series, HBO TV series. It got officially greenlit, so I talked about 4 reasons, at least 4 reasons at the moment, of why you should be excited for this upcoming series, the adapted series. It's going to have Craig Mazin from Chernobyl running it with Neil Druckmann, the actual director, and I think vice president of Naughty Dog. It's basically Neil Druckmann's game. And he's going to be teaming up with Craig Mazin, who made Chernobyl, one of the best shows of last year, and they're going to be doing a TV series for HBO based on The Last of Us, the video game series, so that's pretty cool. Analysing Television, episode 5, talking about Disney Plus's weird reboot strategy. They're rebooting a lot of things. It's a bit confusing as to why and the certain choices, given everything that Disney's got, but I talked about that as well. Did a podcast talking about Crash Bandicoot 4 and The Last of Us 2 and how both games sort of helped me through somewhat difficult times this year, and with COVID and whatever, and just different sort of feelings here and there, but I talked about that as well. So if you want to know, there's no spoilers for either game in that podcast, so you can have a look out for that if you want to as well. Analysing Television, episode 4, talking about season and episode lengths. What is a good length for a season of TV? How many episodes should it have? And how long should those episodes in that particular season be? And compared some network TV shows, some streaming service shows, and the big fundamental differences there. So that was pretty cool to do. Star Trek is still continuing. Star Trek Discovery, Season 3, Episode 6. One of the best episodes of the season. Sorry, of the whole series, not just of the season, of the whole series. Really, really enjoyed that. Gaming Talk last week, we talked about Next Gen being here and the sort of new era of gaming that we're in with the PS5 and the Xbox Series S and X being available. We also talked about the Game Awards nominations, which Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2 have dominated with multiple awards, so we talked about all of that. And of course we've got the Walking Dead World Beyond, the other Walking Dead show, so we've been doing podcasts for those, and we'll be back to talk about the next episode of those shows, or that show, on Wednesday for the 8th episode for this week. But that's everything we've been doing on entertainmenttalk.org and on podcast platforms. So yeah, ultimately very, very disappointed with this season. I think that there was potential to use this story for something better. I think it's quite interesting that they gave Morgan that particular line, but yeah, I'm just ultimately confused as to the decision to do this. And you know, I've looked around online and seen different opinions. Some people are saying like, I'm loving this season, this is better than like recent Walking Dead seasons, which I massively disagree with. I think that the main Walking Dead show has really stepped up its game post season 8 since Angela Kang come in. I've talked to people about like the format of the season, and some people have agreed with me and that sort of stuff. So different opinions, you know, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to discuss different opinions and compare why we feel the certain way that we do about different shows and whatever, and you know, Walking Dead in this instance. So let's talk a bit more about the episode itself. yeah, this designer guy, he sort of decorates zombies or whatever it is that he does. He calls them, did he say like his special little projects or something? So yeah, like I said, that was pretty cool, and you got like different horns and stuff. But yeah, he's dead. They're gone, and that's basically the end of that. So and the weird thing with the whole customized zombies, if you, I don't know what you're supposed to call them. They weren't really. I mean, in the point in the episode that they're actually used, like when the doors break down and they eat the guy. Basically, they basically eat him. Even though they do bury him later, I'm not quite sure what they bury. What's actually left of him? Bones, I guess, like just remains, or I don't really know. But they buried him later. He talks about his creations a lot, and like he went on this run, he came back, and things had gone bad and all that. But you kind of spend more time in this episode talking about these walkers. I know you kind of see a couple of them because what's her name, Charlie and Alicia walk into two of them, don't they? And that's when they start to realize that things are a bit weird with them. So that was a cool little introduction, like early introduction in the episode to them. And then you get to meeting him. He attacks Alicia. Dakota? Virginia's sister. She trusts him for some reason, even though he just drugged Alicia and attacked her and whatever. I'm glad that Alicia kind of never really sided with him necessarily. He kind of like talks her over a little bit in the end of like, you know, you should do this and that and whatever. I was just kind of thinking, you know, to Alicia at that time, like just walk away from this guy, let his creations come in and just eat him, and that's what ended up happening anyway. So that was what that was. Yeah, so they're in the episode a little bit. They're not even in the episode for that long, and then you kind of get rid of all of them and kill them off. You could have done like a whole little arc with that. That would have been kind of cool. And you could have maybe used them a bit more effectively. I did notice that when Morgan and Alicia were killing them, that although you could see little horns and spikes and whatever, which did look pretty cool, Morgan and Alicia don't really struggle to kill any of them. Like, I'm guessing that the idea here was, okay, if one of them's got like a horn that sticks out or like something around their neck that points forwards, that it's supposed to like block you a little bit when you go to attack it. But if you notice, when Alicia and Morgan go to kill these walkers, they don't struggle at all. I mean, there's a couple of bits where like Alicia's hitting the walker slightly differently, but neither of them ever really struggle with it. So it's a cool idea that you just completely kind of misused, because not only were they not really effective when they're actually getting killed, these walkers, you've now just completely got rid of them. So there's that as well. Strand being the backstabber that he always is, Virginia asks him at the end, like, are you siding with me? He said yes. Or she says, what side are you on? He says your side. Yeah, we kind of, I guess, could have predicted that was gonna happen, I suppose, because that's just the way that Strand is. And if you remember in I think it's the second episode of this season, yeah, because the first one was the Morgan episode, wasn't it? In the second episode of this season, when you've got Strand and he stabs that guy and just pretends that he like sacrificed himself or whatever. Yeah, Strand is going to clearly try and just backstab the main group, really. So yeah, that was what it was. I wasn't expecting too much difference there. So, and then Grace is revealed to be still all well and good, but obviously still pregnant and that. I can't remember, are we supposed to know who the father is? It's not Morgan, is it? Because I know that he did spend a lot of time with Grace, but it's not, I don't think it's his child, is it? I can't remember who the father's meant to be, or if the father's dead or whatever. So I can't remember. I don't really know. Again, it's been several episodes since we've seen Grace. Ah, dearie me. It's just another example of like, okay, you waited so long to reveal these things. I don't really get it. So it is what it is, I suppose. Like I said, there's a good story here to be told. There is. Like, I'm not going to criticize the entire season from top to bottom, but just picking this format and then just trying to do this story just has not worked. It just hasn't. So, I want to talk a little bit about teasers from the showrunner, Ian Goldberg himself. He did do an interview. I saw some like quotes or whatever, or some. Basically, he's trying to tease that is it Madison, Alicia's mum, that she's not dead. Like really. Really, like, I mean, I've seen some clickbaity, rubbishy videos on YouTube about like, oh, here's some hints and teasers as to why Madison's still alive. This might sound harsh, and I'm not saying this because I dislike the character, because I actually quite liked Madison. I think she was cool, and she was one of the main characters on the show. I don't want Madison to come back, because if you now rewrite it, well, not rewrite the scene, but just say like, oh, she escaped, she was fine, and she just shows up, that's a really, really big cop-out. Like, I remember the whole Glenn Dumpster thing in season 6 of the main show, and that took about 3 or 4 episodes to get resolved. You're talking 3 seasons. I mean, that's just, you don't, one thing, you don't really need her back. The show's got plenty of characters, and 2, if she just survives that, it's both really, really unrealistic. So if you go, I remember that scene still pretty well. I mean, it's one of the big scenes excuse me, for the show, like one of the main characters dying. If you go back and watch that scene, because I can visualize that scene in my head, she was completely surrounded with a gate, with like a gate fence thing behind her, with I don't know how many walkers, 30, just a big horde. There's no realistic way that she survives that. And it's just, I just find it a bit silly that 3 seasons later, where, like, everyone's kind of moved on. There's been people that said like, oh, I miss Madison, I wish she was back. I mean, you know, that's part of stakes and drama. If a character that you cared about died and you miss them, that's a good thing, because then if a character that you cared about died and you're like, forget it, don't worry about them, then you don't really care about the character, and it didn't really mean a whole lot. So I get it that people want her to come back. I cared about the character, and it would be cool to have her back for, you know, whatever. Like, I miss the character and stuff, but it would just be such a huge cop out, and it's so late to do it. Like 3 seasons later is pretty bad. So the hinting needs to stop. Like, I've seen so much of it this week on Twitter. Where like, oh, the showrunner's gonna give an update on Madison's fate. It's like, that was 3 seasons ago, come on. Like the Heath situation, I know that we've said on the main show a lot about Heath, but he wasn't in immediate peril, he just ran off somewhere. Like, there's so much of a difference. I know that Heath did go missing several seasons ago, but he's missing, not presumed dead. Madison is cornered by like 30 walkers with no way out. I know we didn't see her die, we didn't see her getting bitten, but come on, it's just completely unrealistic that she survives that. So yeah, I've still got some faith that Heath will show up here or there somewhere, because he wasn't in immediate danger and he basically just ran off. Like, there was a few walkers around him, but he could have easily survived that. Madison, no, it's it'd be a cop out if that happens, I think. So yeah, moving into the next half of the season, you know, we didn't see where most of the other characters were again this week. No Sherry, no Dwight, no June and John. It's I feel a little bit. I mean, I feel very frustrated by this season for lots of different reasons. I remember at the end of last week's episode when June was in the truck with all those other characters. I think it was Wendell and Sarah, was it, and some of the other characters. John's in this car behind them, and then there's this, you know, road cuts off or splits off or whatever you call that. I don't drive. I don't know what that's called. He drives off to the right. They drive off to the left, and I'm sitting there at the end of last week's podcast. Going, oh, I wonder, like, you know, will they show him meeting back up with the group? Will they show where he's gone? Are we going to have a dreaded episode where it's just focused on him and that takes up another episode of the season? No, he's just not shown in the episode at all. It's all about Alicia, which you needed to definitely show Alicia this week because she's not been in the last 3 episodes. But yet again, it just, that kind of thing just shows you how broken this season is, just on structure and the format and everything. So yeah, it's not great. So I was going to say something else then, but I've forgotten. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, been a few episodes again since we've seen certain characters. And I was trying to think about, okay, not how many episodes ago did we see a character, how many episodes have certain characters been in? Now, I've tried to work it out and trying to think back on this 7-episode mid-season. Alicia, who's a pretty main character, to me still the main character, has been in 3 out of 7 episodes. She was in the 2nd episode pretty sure she was in a later episode, and then at some point, well, she's missed the last 3, and then she was in this one. So she can have been in maximum of 3 episodes, because she was in the second, definitely. She was in another one, and then she was in this one. So she's been in 3 out of 7, which is terrible for a main character. Morgan's probably been in the most episodes, but that's because they've sort of just shown him more, and Morgan's been all over the place anyway. Sherry and Dwight were in 2 episodes, was it? Because there was the one episode where they found each other. That was nice. And then the next episode where they decided to break up. That was 2 episodes ago, wasn't it? That was episode 5, I think. So 2 episodes ago. So they were in 2 episodes out of 7. Like I said, Morgan's been in about 4 or 5. Maybe all of them. Has Morgan been in every episode? He might have been. And yeah, I'm not going to bother counting the rest, but you see what I mean. Like, it's just, yeah. Anyway. But in terms of the future of the podcast, I will be back next year now. Yeah, in 2021. I will be back next half of the season. Yes, this season has completely annoyed and irritated me just with the way they told the story. But I've got too much curiosity in me to see, okay, now that Morgan's actually got this plan and someone has finally realised that his characters aren't together, and he said like, hey, we should go and find everybody else. Great, Morgan, that's great. I was waiting for somebody to say that. How many episodes is Morgan's plan now going to take to form? The interesting thing for the second half, and the bit of a change, is we usually for most of the Walking Dead seasons, we've had 16 episodes for both Fear and the main show. I know that it wasn't always 16 episodes, but for most of the seasons it's been 16 episodes, and you've had 8 episodes and 8 episodes for one half and in the second half. This season, for Fear, they've decided to go 9 and then 7, because it must be 7 if it's still 16 episodes. So we've got 9 episodes for next season, next half of the season, for the second half of season 6. I think it will, alright, I'll set some standards, not some predictions, some standards. The very bare minimum of what I want them to do next half season, is have at least, not every single character, just have a majority of these characters meet up by the end of the season. If that doesn't happen, then this season's a complete failure, I think. I know it might sound kind of harsh or whatever, but that's just how I feel. So yeah. But anyway, that's pretty much my thoughts on the episode and some of the cool stuff that was in there and some stuff that was misused and all that. But what did you think of this half season? Maybe you really liked it. Maybe you loved it. Maybe this is your favourite half season of The Walking Dead. I'm not going to criticise you for that. That's perfectly fine. That's cool. That's your opinion. I'm not going to try to take that away from you or anything. But if it is your favourite half season of The Walking Dead, or however you feel about the show, please let me know. Matthew at entertainmenttalk.org, Twitter eTalkUK. There's a contact page and information in your show notes. So get involved. Let me know what you think. I will not moan at you, because I won't moan at you for your opinion. I might not think that, I might disagree with you, and I might agree with you. We'll see what you send in and everything. But yeah, I think this season has been a pretty much total disaster, and I do think that this is the worst half season of any of the Walking Dead shows. And if this carries on, which I think it will, and if they don't meet up, at least the majority of the characters don't meet up by the end of the season, I will call this the worst season of any of the Walking Dead shows, because that's how I feel. So we shall see how things go with the next 9 episodes next year. I'm not sure when that's going to be, because they have set a date for the season 10 special episodes, the 6 bonus episodes, which is going to be either 28th of February for the US or March 1st for the UK for the Fox next day airing. So I don't know if they're going to try and squeeze in, is there enough weeks? Because you've got 9 weeks of episodes left. Maybe they'll save it for the summer, because World Beyond's going to finish in the next 2 weeks. That doesn't have a second half of the season. That's just got 10 episodes left, which is the final season, the second and final season. You can't really squeeze in at the start of 2021 9 weeks. Maybe you can. Maybe I haven't actually looked at the calendar, but it will be, unless it comes back like the first Sunday of January, which I haven't seen announced. I think that this Fear season will be back after those 6 Walking Dead episodes. So like summer 2021, which I'd be fine with. I'd be fine with that happening. So anyway, but you'll know when the show comes back because they'll announce it, and then I'll be back at that point, whenever that's going to be. But in the meantime, don't leave Entertainment Talk, don't unsubscribe or anything. We of course do still have the 3 episodes of the World Beyond show to cover, episodes 8, 9 and 10. We do cover of course TV, video games, films and Manchester United stuff as well. Like I said in the housekeeping section, we do actually have other stuff as well, so please feel free to get involved with all of that. Just because Fear is finished doesn't mean you need to stop listening to the podcast or whatever. We do still have other stuff that we podcast on, and things that I promise you I do enjoy more than this season of TV. I promise you that. So if you want to find all that and check all that out, it is on entertainmenttalk.org. Please feel free to check out the rest of our podcasts. That would be brilliant. Different ways that you can support us and get involved. If you like what you've heard today and you want to support it and support Entertainment Talk, we are on Patreon. You can have a look at the $1 and $3 level tiers for ad-free podcast and review options. Word of mouth, you can simply tell people that you know about the website and the iTunes feed. So if somebody else that you know is watching one of these shows, or just tell them in general anyway, you can feel free to do that. Social media, of course, you can share them on Facebook and Twitter, and if you can in different Facebook groups or whatever social media thing you're using these days, because there's about 50 of them. If you want your up-to-date reliable TV and film news, and you do want to know when these shows will be back, or when your favourite TV shows will be back, TV and film news, David's got you covered over on Geektown. That's geektown.co.uk. Geektown radio episodes are on Tuesdays, so look out for those. There'll be a new Geektown radio episode tomorrow, so look out for that. Just search for Geektown on your favourite podcast platform, or go to geektown.co.uk. Over on Twitch, Bex is streaming daily at the moment over there. You can check out her cool fun stuff over there. The Scream Saturday streams are really cool and all, everything. You can find her on Twitch if you search for Trista Bytes. That's Trista, B-Y-T-E-S. Trista Bytes, Trista, B-Y-T-E-S. If you want to watch me play some games over on Twitch, I do stream a variety of different stuff. If you want to find me on there, you can search for eTalk UK. Get yourself subscribed to that, and you'll be notified when I go live. If you do miss any of the streams or anything, they are put onto YouTube, so do look out for our YouTube channel as well. So that'll be pretty cool. And also look out for Let's Play Sundays. Thank you all very much for listening to this half season of me complaining about the format. I do kind of want to apologise, but then I didn't choose to do this format, so I'm not going to apologise for that. But thanks for listening if you have, of me moaning for 7 weeks. But yeah, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next half season. Take care. Goodbye.